Hello, dear listener. I have something truly special to share. It's an exclusive invitation to join me in Mexico for an intimate and luxurious 3-day retreat along the beautiful Pacific coast of Zihuatanejo, taking place the weekend of the spring equinox, March 18th through the 20th. There's also an optional day to stay through the 21st for some special ceremonies that are happening in the area for the equinox. But the retreat itself is the 18th through the 20th, really an opportunity not to be missed. And I'm offering one lucky listener a discounted ticket on this weekend that I've just been loving into being actually for several years now as COVID and, everything. But when we conceived of building this place, our home down here, it's really what we envisioned, bringing people down here for retreats, for trainings, because we felt and we knew that this space was special. And as people keep coming down and we keep getting the feedback, how magical it is, we want to share it in a really intentional way. Be working with the 4 elements, earth, air, fire, water, the metaphors of the season. We'll set sight on a new vision for our mothering journey and creating a deeper connection to self and Mother Nature. So to win a discounted ticket, rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts. Screenshot it and DM it to me on Instagram at Dr. Gertrude Lyons. And remember, the most important thing to mother is yourself. Give yourself permission to take a retreat this year. And besides, who said mothers can't go on a spring break? I'll see you there.
Hello, and welcome to Rewrite the Mother Code. I'm Dr. Gertrude Lyons, a professional life coach, exploring, demystifying, and democratizing the maternal power that lives in all women. The experience of mothering may not necessarily mean what you think it means. I believe that mothering is a vehicle for transformation, whether or not we have children. And together, we can start a new conversation around modern motherhood. On this show, we will redefine what it means to mother and untap the powerful feminine within you. Are you ready to rewrite the mother code? This is a Soulfire production. Hello, and welcome to episode 19 of the Rewrite the Mother Code podcast. It's March, and wow, do I have so much to share about March and so much excitement about this month and everything that's happening in it. So first off, this is the last episode of my first season. So we'll be picking up next week, new date. I'll be dropping podcasts on the Monday of every week and a new name, Mother, and all the same goodness that you've been experiencing with Rewrite the Mother Code, and taking it really deep into, a woman's experience and healing and looking at how we can live our most divine feminine selves. All of the richness that we had. And I want to really go deep with the interviews, with the live coaching, and with my solo sessions. So it'll be a lot that's familiar, but hopefully you'll get a sense of the new edge and depth as we explore our second season. Secondly is the Rewrite the Mother Code Mastermind is this month. And I'm super excited because this episode, you'll be listening to this and you're still able to join. We still have a couple spots left. I would love to have you, because if you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you're a right fit. Happy to talk to you about it. The link will be in the show notes. But 8 weeks of beautiful, deep exploration of what it means to really live your life fully from the power of your inner mother. It's part healing, part inspiration, part empowerment, and certainly creating community and sisterhood. Our world needs it more than ever. And by us taking out time for ourselves, we're making a huge statement to the world and breaking a paradigm that we come last and that women, our care of ourselves isn't so important and that we have to just give everywhere else. So this is, of course, I want a ton for you, but I know it's going to have ripple effects that are going to reverberate in your family and your community and to the world. So please reach out and join me. I'm super excited about it. And it's no accident. And we're going to launch into what the focus of this podcast is about. And it's all connected and related, right? But it's Women's History Month. All right. So it's Women's History Month. And then on March 8th, it's International Women's Day. So super exciting happenings for this month, all related. It's not an accident that I'm launching a new season as well as my mastermind in the month of March. I really want us emphasizing the impact and power that women have and that we can have. So I thought we'd start out. So what we're going to do is spend a little bit of time just acclimating ourselves and kind of getting acquainted with, if you're not already, to what Women's History Month is and what International Women's Day is. And then we'll take a look at some inspiring women so that we can see what's possible when women really live their lives fully as a woman, and what we want to reawaken in ourselves so we can be inspired by them and know that we have within us to make a difference everywhere as women in our lives. All right, so let's take a look, first of all, at International Women's Day. Okay, so that's coming up March 8th. How cool is it that, there's a day dedicated to women? And every year, this campaign chooses a theme. And this year the theme is #ChooseToChallenge. And I love the things that they're saying about it. And what they're calling women to do is to put out challenges. And I love that they're saying a challenge world is an alert world. Whoa, how cool is that, right? So if I speak up and speak out about everything from, things that are happening in my world or in my day that aren't okay with me, that go against or don't reflect honoring of the feminine and honoring of women, that I choose to challenge that and I choose to say something about it. We're all responsible for our own thoughts and actions all day, every day. So we need to take that responsibility. And when others aren't being responsible and respectful of either, directed at you themselves as a woman or other women, it's ours to say something. So, this can be anything from choosing to challenge or call out gender bias and inequality when we see it. Maybe you've been, aware that there are policies or things in your company that really don't feel right to you. This is the month to, if you want to take the day of March 8th and make that the day that you're going to choose to challenge that in some way. You're going to raise the flag on whether it's to start a discussion about it, whether it's to talk to the appropriate person about what can we do about this, and start to put yourself into that picture. But we can also choose to seek out and celebrate women's achievements. This is the day for that, right? I mean, we want to do it every day, but just like kind of any holiday or special day, there's permission to do it. And we can full on take that permission and that permission slip to shout out and raise up and uplift women in your lives, women that you've seen doing great things. Send them a DM, send them a text, anywhere that you're seeing women acting in ways that, bring about positivity, on a feminine sense or in this arena, make it known, share it with them, share it with others, whether it's on social media, whether it's in meetings that you're in or what you're talking about. Really, if we all did this through the day on Monday, what would reverberate in the world, and how, we'd be affirming the feminine. We're affirming changes that we're seeing this year that are getting some affirmation around women in leadership, women that are taking stands and leading their countries, their businesses, their companies from feminine values. We want that amplified because it's working, not just because it's long overdue. And, we want to have, amongst other things, equality in the shout outs and the achievements of women, but we really want to shout them out because they're working so well. And we want to model it and see the models that women are putting out for us to exemplify, right? So we can all help, in this day, they really want us to help create an inclusive world. And I think that's something that's so beautiful about this campaign is it's intended for us to both, celebrate where, we can all connect around feminine values and ways that women are bringing their leadership into the world, and where we're all share in some of those yearnings and the things that we want, but also our differences. We all, we look different as women. We may have similar and crossover values, but the way we go about living them and sharing them look very different, and not wanting us all to do it and look and be the same, but let's celebrate our differences and therefore create more inclusivity. If we tie this to Rewrite the Mother Code, a platform, and what we're looking at there is, one of those feminine values and those feminine aspects is mothering, and how we all people really, but it as a feminine value, we all mother. And later when we're talking about the women that we're going to shout out to, they all mothered causes. They all, took and, incubated, created the things that they are known for now didn't just happen, in one day. That was a conception process. So I think if we can look even, at each other and our achievements through that lens, it's another way that we can feel connected, because we all have a similar process in how we bring things out into the world and bring about positive change in the world. So again, to highlight that, it's hashtag choose to challenge. So that's March 8th, International Women's Day. So super excited about that. And well, if you join the mastermind, don't forget that starts March 7th. So we'll be celebrating, we'll be, uplifting and hitting so deeply into the feminine and celebrating ourselves as women, and also looking at the pain points of where we don't and where we haven't, that we'll be in super prime shape to live March 8th to its fullest. But then we have a whole month, right? We have Women's History Month that we get to celebrate. And how cool is that? So of course we want to really dig into the day, but I love that it's a season. It's a season for women. And, this is where we get to, this particularly, it's called Women's History Month. So we want to look at, the sisters, mothers, aunts that came before us that have really moved us forward, bringing us out of, making movement toward, I'm not saying we're out, but moving us definitely out of the oppressive nature of patriarchy and the oppressive ways that we're out of balance with masculine and feminine values. So we get to look at women who have been and, pioneers along the way, and take time, in this month, make a plan for ourselves and what and how can we explore in this month so that we can bring ourselves, kind of more into the awareness. It's something else I do in the mastermind is around mothering. We really look at how did some of the myths around mothering come to be? How has what has motherhood looked like through history, and to, understand and realize that the culture and paradigm that we live in now around mothering, but around women, hasn't always been this way. And we're living a certain cultural context and in a construct that is just what it is now, right? But we can know so much more about ourselves and make so much better informed choices when we look at the path that's been laid before us and the shoulders that we're standing on. So one, to uplift and see that, we're not alone. Other women have done this. Other women have pioneered, and we can, in small to big ways, do the same thing. And it's something I want to underline as we have this conversation is I think it can be easy when we look at, some of the people who come to the forefront that have done really big things that we all know about, right? That, I can't be like that, or I'll never make that big of a difference. And, stop it. That's an excuse, actually. Will you, be as famous or make, a sweeping change or movement? Honestly, it doesn't matter. If you decide you want to change a mistaken belief that you've had about yourself as a woman, once it's brought to light, that change, that movement has a huge ripple effect. We can't minimize any shift in our own personal paradigms that we make where we have been dishonoring feminine values, where we haven't honored things like caring, that we haven't honored the mother aspect in us, and we've been overly focused on doing and achievement, and that's been out of balance. So what are some ways that I can be more in my being rather than my doing? And I'll be taking part in this movement. I'll be making a difference, just within our closest spheres. Where are there places that I've been settling or I haven't been valuing? This is something I look at when I've looked back at my mothering and where I had sold out and pushed my daughters more toward achievement, more toward masculine aspects, rather than have them equally, value their being aspects. And, we had some of that, but to the extent that it could have been, if I had really been championing it in our household, there could have been more for all of us in that. So, this is within ourselves, within our families, then within our communities. And, when you read about some of these women and their stories, I think one of the things we're going to discover is that it started with small changes. It did start with them working on themselves, then taking it a next level and wanting to help others. And then that caught on. And some of these, aspects or things that women have decided to step into, suddenly you get enough of a wave and it becomes a wave. So why don't we talk about that now? Hi, I'm so excited to share with you my 2024 Spring Equinox Self-Mothering Retreat that's happening this March 2024. And I would love for you not only to consider it, but to attend. But in considering it, hey, just knowing that you would be leaving cold weather, if that's the space that you're in, and coming down to just magnificently beautiful, warm, nourishing place of Zihuatanejo, Mexico. Zihuatanejo meaning land of the goddess women, and coming to really take time for yourself. Okay. And that I am learning more and more isn't just a nice thing to do or something extravagant or something selfish. It's essential. And I really want you to take it seriously, to consider, just think about what would it take for me to go. It's a 5.5-day retreat, getting from where you are, getting there, landing there, and then being in a space that is all about you. It's all about nourishing you. It's all about tuning into you, using everything around us, the nature, the food, the beautiful people, the rituals, ceremonies. I bring it, we really bring it. And we go deeper and deeper as the days go on, and we release, we let go, we bring in what is nourishing, what is empowering, what is that space of just really divine feminine energy. And we do it in the community of women. It's not for everyone. I will be honest, if that idea of leaving and not making it work, or it's just too hard, not for you. If the idea of, spending that amount of time inwardly focused and going to that level of self-awareness doesn't sound like something you're willing to do or put the time and energy into, then it's not for you. And it's good to know that, right? So this is for people who are serious about what it means to mother themselves, what it means to take time for ourselves, and that gift and what that gift can bring to us. It was originally right after my fall retreat. It filled right up. But now some people, it turns out, are not able to come. So I do have a handful of openings. And if you're listening to this and you're willing to take that step, please reach out to me. We can do a discovery call, or you can put a deposit down. I would love that. And you can do that by going to my website, www.drgertrudelyons.com. Go to events, and there you go. It'll all be there. There's a beautiful page there for you to explore. I look forward to hearing from you and then seeing you on my spring retreat. Let's talk about some of these women. But as we talk about them, and we're not going to, necessarily go into great depths on any one of them, but I want you to be thinking about, what can I relate to, or what about this woman's journey or what she stood for can I get behind, or maybe I have a different opinion about it and I would do it differently. All of that's fine. That's all okay. But just to be in the inquiry ourselves and not, think about these women as so distant and separate from us, because they're all just like us. We're all doing things in the world to make a difference. But if we first look at, it's hard for me to not start with someone so profound and over her lifetime made such huge change, the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I dedicated my first mastermind in the fall to her. And we explored a quote of hers at the beginning of each one of our times, just to honor the ways that she stepped into, a masculine world when it was not, far from, we have a challenge now, but back then, to be one of few women in the first getting her Harvard law degree, on up, and just the persistence that she had. But at the same time, she lived in a world where, of course, like, you raise and have children and her husband, but not like I know her intimately, but certainly the way it's reflected is, she did all of those jobs beautifully, and she experienced them all, and she put her attention and intention into all of them. And there's, I think, some really beautiful aspects of her journey and story that I think we can all relate to. And what I love about her too is what she's done has benefited both men and women equally. It was her just, wanting equality, wanting justice, and out of some of the pains that she suffered, she wanted to carve and pave a more direct path for others. So she's obviously amazing and beautiful. So we can ask the question, how can we use her as an example to create change for women, at a legal level? And, what that might not be something you've ever thought about, but why not think about it? Next, I want to touch on Audre Lorde. I recently came across a quote from her, so beautiful, just so profound. And particularly as I'm getting ready for the mastermind, because she speaks about self-care and self-care beyond, yes, it's a good thing to do and women need to do more of it, but that it's an act of political activism. And wow, think about that, right? Self-care is an act of political activism. It means we're going up against the current norms of a woman's place and, how a woman is defined and takes care of herself. So in her beautiful world, and, she was a Black lesbian mother, warrior, poet. That's how she self-describes herself. And mostly, she's so known and widely known in the literary and civil rights spaces, but so empowering, right? And empowering marginalized communities with a message that we can all relate to. And so we want to look at her. What can she teach us about the power of our voice in changing ideas about womanhood? And we're going to be using some of these women also in the mastermind as both these, concrete examples of women in their lived experiences, as well as women that are more the divine feminine archetypes. Right. And we want to explore those too, because all of them have profound wisdom for us. They're profound examples, but they all reflect aspects of the feminine that are within us that we just need to reawaken and awaken in us so we can utilize their full power. I also want to shout out to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, OAC. Now, she's someone, that I really want to raise up, because I think when you bring up her name, people either love her or hate her. And that's because she has stepped so fully into herself, into what she believes, and puts herself out so authentically, so genuinely from her conviction and her commitment to what she cares about. And, to be at 29, right, to be the youngest woman to become a congresswoman, and to defeat a 10-term incumbent in New York City's 14th congressional district in 2018. I mean, that's huge, right? That takes guts. And she was someone who had to really shift some beliefs because, in college when she interned and she got in, was supporting a campaign, Bernie Sanders. And prior to that, even where she really wasn't sure that she could get into the political realm, because she saw it as a place that unless you had a lot of money and connections, that it really wasn't going to happen. And she decided to challenge that belief. And look what happened, right? And now she has carved away. She's already not the youngest. There's women following in her footsteps, and she's making a huge difference. So with her, we can ask, what is she teaching us about what it means to mother a country and create a paradigm shifts in leadership? Obviously by bringing your full self forward, I think is one of the ways, but what other ways? And how can we see ourselves in her? And last, but certainly not least, in who we're going to talk about today is Tarana Burke. So you may not know, or maybe you do, but she's the woman behind the Me Too movement. Right? Hashtag Me Too. And this was an evolution, right? She was somebody who, has her own pain and wounds around sexual violence and sexual abuse, that decided to become someone who helped other teens, other women, that have also were in recovery because she had received care, right? And her mother supported her hugely around it, and she encouraged her to get involved in the community. She decided to make it her work right? She became an activist and has been an activist since 1989. And what I love about hers was the journey, right? So it wasn't like this Me Too movement just happened, right? She started, I'm going to get the dates wrong, but there were years between when she first put it in the forefront and shared that till it became the broader movement that it did in 2017 with the Harvey Weinstein sexual abuse allegations. So she already had something in place that other women could rally around. And that's what's so cool, right? There were already women benefiting from it. She was already, her life was already dedicated to this. And then, when it hit some big names, there was a place to go, and a place where her movement could be used for the betterment of so many. She was at the 75th Golden Globe Awards as a guest actor of Michelle Williams. She received the 2018 Prize for Courage. I mean, just how beautiful, right? So she organizes workshops to improve policies at schools and workplaces. All along, it's been the same through line to support victims, to not blame themselves for sexual violence, and to have a forum that it's safe to come out. And that, the real healing can happen when we can bring justice to feel we don't have to hide or feel like we're at fault. So, she's one of the big silence breakers and someone that I think we can emulate in so many ways about breaking any silences that anywhere that we feel like we can't be our full selves or share our pain or share things that aren't okay, that we realize that we can do the same in our small ways. I'm not going to call them small ways, but, in the ways in our life that may or may not turn into a huge, national and international movement, but it's going to make a difference to yourself and to other people. So, we can look at her and how is she redefining what equality looks like and breaking deeply rooted societal and cultural stigmas around sexual violence. Huge, huge, huge. So I hope we're getting a theme here, right? And I want to underline a couple of them. So one, that when we show up and speak out about what we care about and value, whether it's our voice, our presence, equality, acts that are injurious and not okay, but haven't been allowed to not be okay, that we can honor them and speak about them. And our life as a woman is a journey, and we can constantly be learning, reawakening, and bringing to the forefront our own journeys and places that we've taken on our healing, because that's going to matter to somebody. And that's, so much of what these women did is they took this extra risk to put their lives out in the limelight. And, I think we can look at any one of them and be aware that, they're not only getting positive attention from the world, right? It's not an easy path, but it's one that we can each take in our own way. And there'll be challenges with it. I'm so grateful for all the women who are willing to step up so big and face those challenges so I can be living the life I'm living that is so much farther ahead than even, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, let alone, the more than 6,000 years that we've been women's voices, women's value has been, everything from dismal to certainly not equal, right? So it's only by raising our voices, uplifting. And I want to go back to and kind of underline that we can take on a simple practice of, and I want to leave us all with this as we close is, this day, this month, you can take on a practice of both bragging about yourself, bragging about other women, uplifting, amplifying their voices, amplifying your own, sharing more about what you care about, what matters to you, what's meaningful to you in your life, in your world. And if anything from, a conversation with your husband in your journal to your social media, to other platforms, your company, finding other ways that, if you get on a roll that you can speak out and speak up, do that. So we have bragging, we have speaking out and speaking up. And then I would love to take this month and have you join me on the Rewrite the Mother Code Mastermind, where we really, I just feel like, kind of moved thinking about it that, that it shouldn't be so hard to give ourselves a couple hours a week, to focus on ourselves and focus on what matters to us and realigning our lives to our feminine values. That shouldn't be a big deal, right? I want to break that chain and I want to break that belief. So I would love to have you come join me. Again, there's, information in the show notes. You can reach out to me any and always at Dr. Gertrude Lyons on Instagram and find me. And, let's have a discussion about this because it really matters to me. And it matters to me that we're all taking steps that we can take to, bring about this change, bring about personal all the way through global change. All right. So next time we talk, we're going to be in our new season. Super excited about that, as I've said, and we'll be journeying together onward and inward. Thanks so much. If you like what you hear in this podcast, and of course I hope you do, I'm excited to share I have a Rewrite the Mother Code Mastermind coming up. The next one launches on March 7th. It's an immersive 8-week exploration into rewriting your mother code. You'll be supported not only by me, but a group of extraordinary women. It's an intimate group. I keep it intimate so that we really can go deep and connect. And every woman that joins is on her own journey toward self-love, self-prioritization, and self-fulfillment. The Mother Code Mastermind is designed to give you the guidance and tools you need to nurture yourself first. So hard to do, and we really need to come together to do this in order to make it happen. So no matter where you are in your life and wherever you are on the mothering continuum, with kids, without kids, at any stage along the way, be prepared to disrupt everything you've ever believed about the word mother and own it for your own expansion and empowerment. You can sign up at www.drgertrudelyons.com/mastermind. The link is also in the show notes. Can't wait to see you there. Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you love this episode, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe so that you can stay on the journey and continue to hear more about rewriting your mother code.